Imagine being a sophomore in high school, still asking your parents for lunch money and creating a billion-dollar company. While most of us are left to imagine, a man named Andrew Sutherland lived through that experience. Welcome to Doers Digest. In this video, we're going to be discussing how the founder of Quizlet created the world's solution to studying. Andrew Sutherland was born on October 15th of 1990 in the well-known city of San Francisco, California. Andrew always wanted to do his best in school, but was having a pretty hard time of it as a sophomore in French class. His French teacher wanted all her students to have a deep understanding of the French language, which meant they'd be doing poetry recitations, readings, and of course, vocab quizzes, which his teacher called Quizlets. These quizzes posed the biggest problem for Andrew, as it required a ton of rote memorization. He was doing okay, but not nearly as well as he wanted to be. One day, his teacher decided she was going to give her students another Quizlet, but this time it was going to have 111 French animal names and their English equivalents, and they had one night to prepare. With tons of vocab he needed to learn and very little time to learn them, Andrew asked his father to quiz him on the material. But after a little while of doing this, Andrew wasn't very happy with the results. He didn't feel like his dad was doing a good job of quizzing him and keeping track of his results. So instead of doing what most teenagers would do, he built a program that would do it for him. It would quiz him, keep an accurate track of what he got right, and only quiz him on what he was getting wrong. This allowed him to get 100% on his next test, and he started getting much better grades overall. It helped him so much that he decided to share it with his classmates to help them do better as well. At this point, no one really knew about his creation outside of his family and friends, but he continued to work on it for fun for about a year and a half, until in January of 2007, his senior year of high school, he decided to release it to the public. After that, complete strangers started using the site to create their own study material, and the program kept spreading to teachers and students across the nation. And while all this growth was happening, Andrew received his acceptance letter from MIT, the most prestigious tech school in the world, to study in their computer science department. So 45 hours of travel later, and he now had all the regular problems of a college student trying to find balance in their life. Regular for someone with extremely difficult coursework and creating the world's next solution to studying. Him being an MIT student did benefit the business though, as he was now surrounded by very intelligent peers and professors. And being a student himself, he was really able to optimize Quizlet to best serve the consumer. After 3 years, Quizlet had grown to over 1 million monthly listeners, which made him feel very excited. But he was also feeling a large weight of responsibility, and on top of that, the company still hadn't made any money. It was great having this large platform, but at the same time, if something went wrong, he was the only one who had to fix it. And he had to fix it quickly so that the millions of students relying on him weren't left stranded. All this while still being a student himself, still trying to get his own homework in on time and pass his own classes. So Andrew eventually came to a crossroads. He had to choose. He had juggled several different things for a while, but he knew he wasn't giving his best to any one of them. And he decided it was time to go all in on one thing. And I'm sure you can imagine what he picked. He dropped out of MIT, packed up all his belongings, and caught the next flight back to San Francisco, the city where his passion was first born, to fully pursue this goal of his. He wanted Quizlet being used by every student out there. But he knew he couldn't do it alone. He'd spent the last several years building this education platform to the point where it was, but he knew that if he wanted it to become the go-to learning tool for students around the country and eventually around the world, then he would need a team. So for the next couple of years, he focused on building a team around him. People who were better at different sides of the business than him to create things like their iPhone app, Android, and really round out the product. In 2015, Quizlet made money for the very first time. Now, Andrew had gone the last 10 years without making a dime from his business, but his service had still grown a large user base, at somewhere between 10 and 12 million people. This made it a lot easier when he started actively seeking out investors, because his product was already known. In fact, he'd already had people approach him for the opportunity to invest. But with this came its own problems. He started getting questions from investors about his company, like their user retention numbers or subscription data, all of which they didn't have. Data tracking wasn't one of their strong points, and they hadn't done a good job of preparing those numbers. Not having those numbers on hand would be like going to a soccer game without your shin guards. You can still play the game, but you'll probably get hurt, which they did. But thankfully for Andrew, it only set them back a little bit. They were still able to get over $12 million in their first round of fundraising, and this money allowed them to be more aggressive in their growth. Quizlet continued its fast growth until 2019, where the pandemic shut down schools and classrooms around the world. But while most businesses were hurt during this time, Quizlet only got bigger. They saw a meteoric growth of 300% in 2020. The same year, Andrew finally decided it was time to take a break. Though he'd enjoyed the 15 years it took to launch, grow, and sustain Quizlet, he knew a sabbatical would be best for him. Quizlet now employs over 200 people at 4 different offices in San Francisco, Denver, New York, and London. It brings in tens of millions of dollars in revenue each year with over 60 million monthly users, and is worth upwards of $1 billion. And it's funny to think how this all started with one 15-year-old kid who just wanted to do well on his French quiz. A kid who I think, and I'm sure many of you would agree, changed the world. But that's just my take. Let me know what you think in the comments below and what business you'd like to see covered next.